What's up, guys? Welcome to the PDR Workshop. Dave here. Joining me today, Chris Ray, per usual.
What's up, guys?
Today we're going to go ahead and we were going to talk about the sales breakdown actually for our November of 2019. We kind of went over it together, and we were crafting a breakdown for our technicians just to kind of give them insight on how to really see where, their sales and, their billings are coming from.
Yeah, where the leads are actually generating from. Yeah. So,
and that's mostly just because we know that, just unlocking the door and turning on the sign and just waiting for customer flooding is probably the farthest from the truth. So,
sure.
And so you really have to kind of dive deep into your numbers. That's what's going to make you or break you. Yeah. I know myself personally, I'm not the best at it. It is probably it is not my strong suit. I will say that. I think just pushing creativity, stuff like that is numbers, scare me. They just don't click. They don't compute well. And that's just the nature of me, and this is why I have Chris here next to me, who is, to me, just all about the numbers. They don't lie, he says. So,
They don't lie. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
And what we did was, so we went, we did a breakdown, and we go ahead and crafted that, and we, delivered it.
Yep. And at this time, since we're talking about the numbers, I want to suggest our sponsor, Mobile Tech RX. They have a lot of data analytics, add-on that you can plug in or something that you can come up with. I haven't went through it as thoroughly as I should. We're probably going to do a nice review on it, but they allow you to break down all the numbers per panel, per location, everything. So you can really dive deep. It's an extra fee, but I think it's well worth it if you're trying to grow your PDR industry. Also, check out Blim Tools and Dentcraft Tools. I will say both of those tool manufacturers are coming out with new tools pretty much on a monthly basis. I know last year Dentcraft had their new ratcheting hammer, and then Blim has their new door tool from Marty tool. So check out those guys, and let's get back to our agenda.
Yeah, and all we want to do is just dive a little bit deeper, and just to kind of how we obtain our customers, and so we can see, and why we do this is just so we can see what is yielding the highest profit for us, where our money is coming from, where are these leads coming from, how are we computing them, how are we converting, these leads into sales, and then at the end of the month, we get a number.
Because at the end of the day, leads cost, right? And so whether it be through paid leads, paid advertising, or just referrals, or whatever the case may be, or however you get those referrals, you have to. I think it's a cost per acquisition. So you have to figure out those numbers based on the effort that it takes to capture that customer. And so for paid, it's relatively easy. You just set up
the more money, the more money.
But you set up parameters in the website. You try to create this kind of pathway of where the customer goes after they click on the ad. And then you can actually target which ad works better and just kind of cancel the other ones. Even though they're working, they're just not working as good as one campaign. You can move more time, and for paid advertisers, really, either modify or move more money into that.
Do you have a quick tip or anything for someone about just paid advertisement? Like I just said, more money should yield you more, and you're like, there's a couple parameters that you should set.
It may go down into copy, right? Because for us, we have a lot of competition, and so what they're obviously reading before they even get to your website. So just speak to your customer is probably the best thing.
Through the advertisement.
Through the ad, through the copy of
which
the
is
ad.
limited text, right?
Yeah,
so just make them enticing and
or something.
capturable.
Yeah. So just do that. If it's a Tesla, sometimes you can, target Tesla owners. And you can say, hey, get your dent fixed in Tesla or hybrid certified for power down. That's going to speak, it's going to pull more weight for a Tesla or hybrid owner than someone that just has a Corolla.
Nice.
So that's my recommendation. I mean, you can go in depth and all that stuff, but there's plenty of resources for that. This show is sponsored by Mobile Tech RX, Dentcraft Tools, and Blim Tools. If you want to support the show, please head over to their website for any of your PDR needs. Thanks for watching. Back to the show. But our breakdown here, Dave. So we did it through a couple of categories, right? We have the body shop and auto repair shop and dealerships. Detail shops.
Yeah,
then we have just retail. And then we have dealerships. And so here at Dentless Touch, we don't do a lot of dealerships. The dealerships we do service for, it's all high end, right? So the BMW, the Lexus, the Cadillac, Volvo, like it's all high end, small, big dealerships, but still, we're very selective on the dealerships that we do work for. And those have subcategories of referral, paid ads, or organic, right? And so,
we broke this down into 3 main categories of where this money comes from, as in what services or who do we service? And we service retail customers,
right?
We service dealerships, and then we service automotive shops that require PDR service, right?
And the body shops and auto repair shops we categorize them as one.
As one, right? So just
right
automotive
now.
repair, retail customers, and dealerships are our 3 main categories. Then for our subcategories and how we get these customers or how we advertise to these customers, these three categories are referrals, paid advertisement, and organic searches. Correct. So how do we get our body shops? Is it through referrals, ads, organic? How do we get our retail customers? Is it through paid advertising? How do we get our dealerships? How do they see us? Is it through referrals, subs, stuff like that? So that's how we broke it down for our November.
Yeah, and I think the main goal was to see where our time needs to be spent more at. Maybe, a body shop, for an example, a body shop referral, that's something you have a hard time seeing. You have to ask the customer, hey, how did you hear about us? And then they say, oh, such and such, Jeff's auto body, gave me your number. And so that's where we categorize the referral. And so
that's one of the best customers too.
Yeah, it's because they probably already got a price.
They've been prepped. I mean, and it's
good.
They've been prepped for the PDR service, kind of by the shop that
and
we
that
already
holds weight too, right? So just blasting ads and throwing ads in people's faces, what you get is a whole bunch of side swipes. You get the good stuff too, but you get a bunch of stuff that you can't even fix.
A lot of just uneducated customers about PDR, right? So they just don't know what we do or what we can or can't fix. That's the difficulty.
Yeah, it is. It is. So on the body shop referral side, is basically when a shop recommends us to a customer and provides our contact information. Pretty much that's probably the best type of sale for us is the referral from a body shop. Ads, we really don't do any ads for a body shop. And then the organic, I feel like it's the reason why we service the body shop. So this is the main reason. It may not be the most lucrative, but it's like the WEOs, a couple of hail cars they get. Normally, that's why we have a body shop account. That's why they need us. But if you can work that front office and actually bring it to the referrals, which me and Dave clearly said, that's probably one of our best customers right now, you can start seeing the benefit of that. As far as retail, we get, referrals. That's them recommending their buddies to us, possibly a review. We categorize the review as organic, but that could be kind of a review. We can talk more about that. Ads, very expensive right now. Our click-through rate right now is roughly about $35 a conversion. And so the customer acquisition is very expensive, $60-something a customer during these times. It definitely goes lower during the summer.
Can you just explain that quickly? What is that? How does that equate? So you spend money.
Yeah, so
it costs money for them to click.
Yep.
They still call. You have to sell, close, and get your money back from the ad on top of making profit, correct?
Yeah, which is challenging during December.
So out of $100, you've taken already $35 away from the ad, correct?
Yep, correct.
And now you have $75 to sell the customer or
try to get a profit.
Or try to get the profit.
Yeah, a profit. Paying your tech and all that stuff. So you would need to make. So an easy way to do it is if you can really get a good number of how many customers come from the ad, right? And that could be just the conversion rate. And then you get your overall price that you pay for the ads, and obviously you just divide it by the actual sales, right? So if someone clicks and calls you, that's not a sale. So you go off of, you probably get maybe, let's say 10 inquiries for paintless dent repair pricing. Let's say only 5 get the actual work done. So out of that 5 total, you just paid $15 for ads, right? Or roughly it probably is like 20. So you paid $20 worth of conversion. So $25 each. I don't know. I don't have a, let's say $10 for one. We keep it easy. That's $250 worth of ads. And then you divide that number, or you divide the total price of the total sales for those 5 customers into the ads. And that gives you your customer acquisition price.
Got it.
Cost, I would say.
And so you did, I know you have, dive deep into the analytics of your advertisement.
Right. So yeah, it can.
Do you know roughly how much someone charges to offer this service or do this service for a business?
I'm trying to think.
Hourly rate or anything? I don't know.
Do it. No, I really think just as you run a business, you need to know those numbers. If you're going to spend money on ads, this is the only way to know if it works.
Right. So because there's a lot of people offering, hey, we'll do your ads for you, right?
Up. Yeah.
Well, I just say a lot. Even myself too, the back end of stuff. I can create a Google business page. I can maybe create a WordPress website. Some of these analytics and things, they can get really confusing, or there's a lot of keywords in there that a lot of guys aren't going to know, right? And so a technician who is running his own business, in the business and on it, taking the time to dive into analytics, that time may not be there. So I was just wondering if maybe you knew of possibly a service or anything that you could help someone out with. But I know there are services available. Just find a reputable one.
Yeah, to take care of your I just feel like it's a need for an owner that wants to grow and wants to see where his money is going. You have to have at least. That's just scratching the surface. Because we do display ads, which has a completely different, click-through rate and all that stuff. You have to be a little more lenient with the display ads, more of like a branding thing. So it's
very intricate.
Yeah, exactly. But if you want to know where your money, what they say, a penny saved is a penny earned. So that's kind of how you have to look at it. I can go make $100 or $200 on a dent, or I can go and try to save me $200 just by tweaking different things, or at least understanding how much. And then also the pricing. So I learned this obviously with I used to sell parts, and because of the sell price was one, that wasn't obviously where my profit was. And sometimes because of the profit margin for parts that I was selling was so small and tight, I needed to create a brand so I can bring that price back up. If not, I was losing money. Shipping and, this didn't fit. Can I return it back? Like I had to analyze all of that to like a month basis and say, where is my profit? And then I go, all right, I can't charge this amount of money. Like I can't, which was obviously way above cost. I mean, that was my first kind of experience with cost is one thing. And a lot of people, $20 over cost, $10, $100 over cost. Yeah, but that $100 chews up where you're really technically only making $37. If it took an ad, if it took delivery fees, he returned it one time. All of that stuff matters.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to do a quick, maybe just a little bit episode on just analytics, because I just know that they are important. They are super beneficial for a company to, be advertising for their business. But I just know that the back end of making sure that those are running smooth and efficient, it can be a little strenuous for someone where that's not their wheelhouse, right? So... but let's kind of get back to it. Yeah. So we were paying about $35 an ad. At least
conversion click-through rate, basically.
Click-through rate is about $35, and then we also do just organic for our retail customers. They can find us organically through YouTube, our sites, and our SEO and everything else. So.
Yep. And then we categorize obviously dealerships. Referral side really doesn't happen unless a manager moves. And we've only had this once in like my whole entire career.
They like to keep it in house. They'll call us to go there rather than send the customer away.
Yeah, they don't refer a lot of customers. And then we obviously do not run any ads, so we don't get any. Our ads do not run for dealerships, so that's a zero number for us. But organic,
if they want to use us, they will. They'll find us. They know how to find a vendor if they need it quick. We get those one-off, can you come today type calls. So advertising to a dealership is probably kind of not. It's going to be not beneficial for you. Beneficial for you, because if they want to find you, they will find you. The dealership isn't. They're smart. They know what to do.
And so organic is where the dealership, right? So it's just a natural sales of a dealership, and that is used cars, service lane, and just kind of managers moving around. You may get a little bit of his car and stuff like that. A lot of times they like to, clean up their car. You can bill them. So when we look at the breakdown, let's go into the numbers, right? So in retail, 15% of our sales are actually from referrals for retail, and 65% is ads. So 65% of the retail category is coming from ads. And then 30% is coming from organic, which is insane. So organic, just to recap, organic for retail is our YouTube, our views, and then just a review, and then the site traffic. So that's why we're kind of calling it
being
organic.
that website that's on that first page that's clickable, easy to navigate, getting a sale, through or get them through the website to get the sale.
So that right there tells you either we need to spend more time on the referral side of things, which I'm kind of mixed feelings on referral, honestly. I don't want to have a dent guy keep getting in contact with me on my email. I only need to use you and be done with it. Now, if I know another car buddy, I'm already going to recommend you, but that's
saying from a customer standpoint?
Yeah, from a retail standpoint. If I'm done, the dent caused so much stress. I gotta get it fixed. I had to take a day off. I don't need.
I'm not phoning a friend. Hey, man, this is the best thing ever. Right?
You need to get your dent out. Like, no, I'm not even trying to share that I got a dent
in my car. Yeah.
So those, when you spend a lot of time trying to get referrals, I think it's wasted time. So the organic ads is so much more beneficial. So what we gather is that we spend a little bit more time in organic. Just try to drive down the ad side of it, because if 65% of our retail, this is just for the month of November, is coming from ads, we don't want to be that reliant on ads. It is expensive, and it's getting even more expensive. Google loves it, but we're not going to love it. Our income does not raise as fast as what it charged for Google to run their ads. And then just with competition, so I do little small stuff where if I see someone kind of overlapping my ads and we know that no one's going to drive another 40 minutes to you, I will call that competitor and say, man, who's running your ads? You might want to narrow down a search. There's no reason to give Google our money. So let's be a little more proactive of how we manage our stuff.
Which is perfect, right? Because one, that doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
I think just in local markets a lot, that's not happening, and I think it does need to happen. Two, it's beneficial for both parties.
Yeah.
You're going to be really like for the person advertising in your area, but it's probably too much. Narrow it down, really dive into your target market within a closer area rather than just saying, I'm just using this for example. I'm in Chicago. Like, you know how big Chicago is? You know how many people are there? Like, narrow it down, really dive deep into where your customers are going to be coming from. And I know we do that often. But when you have a competitor, kind of jockeying for that 1 and 2, ad position for dent repair of all things, like, let's really, work together on this.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Now, in the dealership, we just put 0 for referrals. This is just our month of November, and 0 for ads because we don't gain any dealerships from running ads. Obviously, 100% organic, right? So that's used cars and stuff like that. Body shops. 60% of our business from a body shop comes from referrals. So when you total up every sale that we got from a body shop, because of that we do business at a body shop, 60% of it on the price side was from referrals and 40% was organic. And that's really because we had about 2 hail cars for body shops. But outside of that, the referrals, when they come and they say, hey, we can't fix it, or it may be a better option to try this company, PDR, Dentless Touch, try them. That is, like we said, the absolute best customer.
And they'll say it. It's one of the first things they say. Hey, I'm so-and-so. Blah, blah, blah sent me.
Yep.
And it's like, jackpot. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, because the shop, you've built a relationship with the shop over the course of your career. I'm not saying you in particular, just everyone. You built the relationship strong enough to where they're going ahead, foregoing them, the profit on their end and sending it to you, which is awesome. And then on top of that, they're coming to you and say, hey, I went here. They're sending me here. I have this issue. How much?
And the crazy thing is when I go back and I say, who was it? And I then educate that person. Well, thank them, obviously. Yep. And then educate that person about, hey, did you did you see our YouTube videos? Do you actually, let me show you what we fixed this week. And oh man, y'all can fix that? Yeah. So just keep recommending even larger repairs. So we're not being referred, small little door dings. We're being referred 7, 8, 10-inch,
minor collision.
Yeah, right.
Getting into that real extreme PDR.
They're analyzing like, man, I really don't want to paint this car. It'd be more beneficial if the PDR guy can do it. Try this company because I seen on YouTube or they show me a similar repair and just check with them first. And a lot of times, it's fixable. And I mean, it doesn't cost you that much. So when you're looking at it from a cost standpoint, we're trying to get away from the ads and really hit the referral side of retail, which I said, I'm not too, I don't support too much. I mean, it's there, but I don't want to build a whole ad campaign about referrals. But the organic side of retail and then the referral side of the body shop is what we noticed, obviously, in November. So that's pretty much what our breakdown. And if you're if you're a retail PDR company, you definitely want the relationships with the body shops. I feel like you can deal without the dealership, but they do add that filler work.
Yes.
When it's a little slow or when the schedule, I mean, right now.
But then also can become stressful when.
Yeah. So it's got to be the right
they're
dealership.
not filler work and it's just busy.
Right. And so if you're a retail kind of, business as far as PDR, definitely retail and then obviously body shop. Body shop may be, it's free, right? You just stop in, you show them that marvelous work you know how to do, and they go, wow, okay, we'll start using you. And you just, now the front desk lady knows you. You give her a stack of cards, call me anytime. You give her stuff that she's going to sit in front of her desk, a cup or something with your name on it.
And it's a twofold. You go there for work, their vehicles, and then they send it to you. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
But also, you send work too on that side,
and it costs zero to acquire all of that.
Yep.
Besides driving in and dropping off your card and selling yourself or selling your company.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a no-brainer right there.
For sure. So, guys, work your body shop. They can be a very strong asset to grow your retail presence if that's what you're trying to get into for PDR. As always, I want to thank our sponsors, Blim Tools, Dentcraft Tools, and Mobile Tech RX, guys. Thanks for joining us on the PDR Workshop podcast, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.
See ya.
Peace.